What it do? What is popping? What is happening? It is Fight Court. I'm your boy Dean Thomas. Alongside joining me, the mighty Quinn, Ryan Quinn, and alongside him is Natalia Rivera. Natalia, what's popping? I like the shirt.
Oh, you like it here, but if I put it a little bit up, it's getting darker. Do you wanna see the dark humor or what? Do you wanna see it?
No. Let's keep the shirt down. This is not that type of show.
No, I'm not gonna keep it like just. It's a little suicidal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, it's rock and roll. It's rock and roll.
Right.
You got to chill out with all that hard rock stuff. It's not.
It's hard. It's hard. It's an expression. You're an artist.
I am an artist. Ryan, what's popping? The beard is in full. You got the most fullest beard in the hair.
Yeah. No,
Is that even real?
That's crazy.
That is real. Listen, and Dean, as Dean knows, there's a lot of Russian fighters at ATT. I used to come in with this thing after not shaving for 2 weeks, and I was the coolest American that there was. They'd be like, man, I would grow that down to here. And then if I shaved and I'd come back in, they would literally look at me like so disappointed. Sometimes my beard gets so thick, no bullshit. One time I'm at the drive-thru at Starbucks. I'm not even at the window. In the recording, the guy goes to me, "You got a real thick beard, man. You got really something going on there." I'm like, man, my beard is fucking serious, man.
I feel like you went to Turkey and got transplant from your asshole.
Yeah, that's where the real hair is at.
Yeah. You have to consider. Have you ever considered to like be bold and have like the really, that beard?
I'm not gonna have to consider it very soon. So,
well, it's a good look
for me.
It's a good that you have that beard because it compensates the boldness.
Very cool.
Amazing. Well, we had some news this week. Jason Herzog is one of the best referees in the game. That you can't dispute that. That's not up for negotiation. I'm not negotiating that. But he was reffing the fight between Nasruddin Imavov and Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier gets rocked a little bit, turns his back, gets rocked again, and boom, then Herzog steps in, stops the fight, and now we have some controversy. I'm sure you guys seen this incident. Ryan, what can you share with us about the incident?
All right. I used to do a lot of research on decisions made by refs and judges when it comes to this stuff. We'll get into all that. And whenever stuff like this happens, I try to remove myself from the fighter and I try to make sense of it as the official. So I went back and watched it again, and I tried to watch how many unanswered strikes I saw. I did see about 7 or 8. Now that's not 10 or 11. So unanswered strikes meaning he connected and there was no, like, he was still trying to get out of the way. He wasn't trying to respond. He wasn't flirting with him. But that being said, that's usually when it's on the ground or when there's some serious power shots being landed. He still had his bearings underneath him, and we've seen worse. Like Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald too. That fight was way worse as far as stumbling, and John McCarthy kept the fight going. It was a horrible stoppage. It was a bad mistake, but like you said, Jason's one of the best refs in the game. He really screwed up, and unfortunately, people are going to think about this about him as opposed to all his other stuff. Dean, what's the best ref? It's the one that you don't know is there, right? And like this takes that away. Like this, it was just a really bad stop, and I hate to criticize a bad referee. He really fucked up.
Natalia, do you agree or disagree with that?
It's weird because in that moment, even myself, I was saying like, stop ref, stop ref, stop ref. So I got that impulse that he was really rocked and he wasn't able to defend at some point. But then I rewatched it today and I didn't feel exactly the same way. I think it could have go a little bit longer, but I think that the end was near. And then checking these official unified rules of MMA, the technical knockout, it says about the referee stoppage, the referee stops the contest because the combatant is not intelligently defending himself. That is the criteria. So I think he was defending himself still. He wasn't receiving punches. He was covering, but he was blocked. So I don't know. That's the rules. Herzog is the best in the game. He's my favorite referee. And If it's a mistake, it was a really like ambiguous mistake. It could go the other way.
Well, here's the thing. First off, I told myself I was never going to give criticism to a ref ever again because it's not fair. It's not fair to sit on the outside of the fight and not have the responsibility of governing that fight, sitting on the outside, and then after it's said and done to criticize that referee for making a decision whether he stops it or not stops it. Because we criticize them when they stop it too late. We criticize them when they stop it too early. If that's the case, maybe the crowd should just be the referee and be like, all right, whenever the crowd has enough, we'll stop it. But the reality is that we put these guys in a position to govern the fight. We put them in a position to referee the fight. That means we trust them. That means we don't have to agree with them. We don't have to agree with their decision, but we have to respect their decision. Now, with that being said, I respect his decision, even though I agreed that it was premature, and I'm sure that him today, looking back at it, agrees that it was premature. But in the moment, he felt the need to stop it. And I have to respect that. And he might not even respect it, but I have to respect it. And we all should respect it because we put him in that position. Now, was it premature? Yes. Jared Cannonier is mad at Jason Herzog, and Jared Cannonier wants a rematch, and Jared Cannonier wishes he could get a do-over. But Jared Cannonier also has to accept some of the responsibility in this because he's the one who got rocked. He's the one who put it in the hands of Jason Herzog to stop it. He has to accept some of this responsibility and say, I get where you was coming from. I was hurt, and you was doing your job. So, Jared Cannonier, I'm sorry. I know that you're mad at this, but you have to accept some of this responsibility because you're the one that got rocked.
Yeah, especially I was just trying to say that. Oh, sorry. Go.
I'm going to play Monday morning referee here. And I hate when people do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's our podcast. Do whatever the fuck I want.
You do what the fuck you want. It's shit. We talking this. You say what you want.
We're all friends here. We're all friends. So another thing that the refs tell us in the pre-fight, I've had this conversation privately with John McCarthy, with Dan Murgliata. They call it the look. The look. What's the look? The look is actually lack of look, so to speak. What are the eyes doing and everything like that? And the majority of the times, going back when there's these questionable stops, if you watch it 2 or 3 times, I see that look they're talking about. I see the stoppage. I didn't see that here. I saw, granted, I felt that Jared was answering intelligently. He was getting out of the way. He was trying to create angles. He was covering a little bit. He wasn't just, his hands weren't down. I didn't see it. I think it was just a bad screw up. It was premature.
I was going to say, I feel like you're definitely right in the sense of we have to respect the referee's judgment because also he's inside the cage with those guys. We're watching that through TV or even in the event in the arena. It's like really, really far from the cage. So he's contemplating all the action, but they're referees and referees. I mean, Herzog is the best. I think with Goddard, for me, they're my favorite referees. But there are referees that are just terrible too. Like the guy that they had to take out of the event because he was basically letting Zaleski Dos Santos with Sam Benoit kill them, each other. So there are referees that have to be stopped. In this case, it's not the case. It's Herzog. But there are referees that, you have to criticize them. You have to cut them.
But that's what I'm saying. If we have to criticize them, we got to cut them. We got to remove them. We shouldn't have to criticize our referees. If we have to criticize them, they shouldn't be there. But if we allow them to be there, it means that we trust them. So this comes down to, and this is something that you always say. You say this every damn week. Education. It comes down to education. It comes down to the training. If these refs are qualified and we train them and we allow them to be refs, we should respect their decisions. Now, if they're making too many mistakes, then we need to cut them. They shouldn't be there. They need to go back to school. But if they're in the position that we're allowing them to ref, we need to allow them to do their jobs. And we need to accept the fact that they're only human and they're going to make mistakes just like we make mistakes and just like fighters make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes in their game. We have to accept the fact that a referee is going to make a mistake every once in a while. He's going to stop it a punch late. he might stop it a punch early, but they're going to make mistakes. But again, if we can accept the fact, if fighters can accept the fact that they made a mistake in terms of getting hit and allowing that to happen to himself, he's got to accept the fact that Jason Herzog is going to make a mistake every once in a while and pull the trigger a little too quick. He pulled the trigger a little too quick, no doubt about that. But fuck it, it happens. People make mistakes.
I got two things to add to this. First, do I wish I was in Jason Herzog's situation there? Fuck no, I don't wish I was in that situation. We're dealing with people's safety. You know, it's a world-class fight where things happen this quick. So he made a decision. Now, how are we going to know if the commission feels the same way I do? Or how are we going to know if Jason Herzog, he's not going to be cut, but will he get demoted? Follow the next big fights coming up and see where they put Jason Herzog on the lineup. Is he going to be on the undercard? Is he going to get another co-main event or main event fight? Or is he going to put lower down on the card so he's not in that situation to deal with a more high-class fight? That's how we're going to know if the commission feels the same way as everyone else does.
This is what I think we should do with him. Absolutely nothing. I think we shouldn't punish him. I think we shouldn't say anything. I think he already knows what the mistake was. I mean, he's one of the senior refs. I think he just needs to he already knows. He already knows. So it's not like he even needs to be punished to be like, oh, you want to be punished? Because now he's going to be in his head. And that's the last thing we want. And to be honest with you, I think it's better that they stop it early than late. Even though if I was a ref, I would stop it later than early. I'd probably get kicked out for stopping them too late because I have no regard for human life. The guys that get in there, I'd be like, shit, you signed up for this. You're gonna be damn near dead before I stop it.
Savage Dean.
That's right. But for a ref that we trust in the spot to protect the safety of the fighters, it's better that they stop it early than late, because if it's late, I mean, obviously that's damaging. If it's early, you just go home and be pissed about it. So I don't think we should do anything in terms of punishing him. I think we should just be like, man, you screwed up. It's not often that this happens. You screwed up. Now, if it became a thing where he started screwing up every week, then we got to look into it. And the only way he's going to screw up every week if he gets in his head and he starts feeling bad about himself because he made this mistake. So what's going to happen next time? He's going to maybe stop it too late. Then we're going to be on his case about that. And then the next time too early. Then we're going to be on his case about that. So I say we try to let him forget about this incident and just be like, yo, just get back to what you do best.
That's fair. I'm with that.
Because otherwise, man, we're going to have a problem. And I think other refs should learn from this and be like, hey, listen, he made a mistake last week. That's just to say that any of us could do it. Let's just be on our P's and Q's and just really focus and be in the moment and make sure we give these guys a fair chance, but be on our P's and Q's, because it could have happened to anybody. There was a ref earlier that night that probably shouldn't have been reffing at all. Yeah, that one dude.
It's the only way to learn also. Like Herzog is definitely going to learn because he looks like an intellectual referee. You know, I feel like he's really like statistic guy. He's super prolific in what he does. And also the referees that are outside, they're going to learn a little bit more too. So it's a win-win. Not for Connonier though.
A lot of things that the public doesn't see, we don't even see. Is I know this because I spoke with Andy Foster, the head of the California State Athletic Commission, about this. In instances like this, or if there's a awkward scoring fight, bi-monthly, the commission leads meet and they analyze the fight and they see like where was the mistake made, was there a mistake made, and then they talk about it with their crew. So like there's going to be more developing behind the scenes that they're going to learn from. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. But we are all humans, and we're dealing with the safety of other humans. So it's a tough one, man.
No, it's not really that tough, I don't think, in terms of like referees and judges and so on and so forth. All right, now this is supposed to be the job of the athletic commission. All right, now for the UFC, now I'm only speaking for the UFC here because it's kind of unfair because the athletic commission, that same athletic commission that governs the UFC is supposed to govern like, this random small organization. But I think the UFC is different and we need to do something about this because, first off, the referees probably should be getting paid a lot more and it should be a higher profile job and they should be getting paid a lot more. Definitely. Same goes for the judges. referees and judges should be getting paid more because we are dealing with a billion-dollar industry. We're dealing with a billion-dollar industry where the athletes' livelihoods are dependent upon referees and judges, and these guys should be educated, probably going through like legit schooling, and they should probably be paid as such, as like a profession, because we're dealing with the profession of other people. Why are these guys getting paid probably $200 a night?
Yeah, and you're not exaggerating either.
Yeah.
You're not exaggerating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are these judges getting paid like $200 a night, and the livelihood of someone's life is in their hands based on the decisions that they make? Referees as well. Like, these guys should be getting like real salaries, because it should be like their full-time job to make sure that they're doing it right.
Absolutely. Like MLB umpires, like NFL referee crews. It's their full-time job.
Like these guys are getting paid because like it's their job. And I know that's, NFL and all that stuff is not governed by the state athletic commission, but maybe the UFC shouldn't be governed by that. Maybe there should be an independent. Maybe this is the state for like UFCs and these bigger organizations should have an independent source of where we're getting referees and judges, so that we're not having these fucking mistakes. Because it's
we all know that there's enough money to cover that. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, so I was talking about it earlier.
Well. When we talk about money in MMA, we talk about the promotion, and the promotion is supposed to be separate from the governing body. So,
and it shouldn't be. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
It is connected in a way. So it is connected in a way.
It is, but like then the promotion should front some money for the governing bodies for their shows.
And I think they should.
You know why? Because this judgment that we have had the last week and the past week, it is unbelievable. You know what happened with Ryan Dos Santos and Puya Tomar? That was insane. So there is a huge problem. And last week, what happened with, let me check, with Strickland and Costa. The one judge gave it to Costa 49-46. I'm sure that if they are better paid, if they get more into, all the rules, to be more critical, to be more prolific, more detailed, this wouldn't happen.
Or even if you didn't pay them more, we need to have like 7 judges. We should have like 7 judges.
When we were talking about refs, and obviously when you talk about refs, the conversation of judges comes up. And are we going to talk about judges too?
Yeah. Talk about it.
Let's do it.
One thing that comes to mind is, like, I know when we talk about the judges on their screwy positions in fights, I try to look at other fights they've judged and see if they had a similar narrative as to what they were looking for in that fight. One fight that comes to mind is Paddy Pimblett versus what was the controversial decision? What was the kid's name?
Jared Gordon.
Jared Gordon. Okay, that was the second controversial decision that one of the winning judges. What was the guy that went on Chael Sonnen's show? I forgot his name. The judge. He tried saying he tried defending his decision. Anyway, the night before that guy was in Connecticut, and he gave the fight to Danny Sabatello for grappling prowess. Basically, it was the same. So in that guy's defense, he stuck with his narrative as to how what MMA fight he's looking for. He clearly favors grappling and everything. That's what I was looking for. Now, granted, there's definitely been nights where I've seen judges, they flip it. They like striking in a closer fight than the grappling in a closer fight and on the same night. They got to be consistent is what I'm saying at.
Well, that's the thing, right? If we feel like they're going to be consistent, right? Let's say then it should be very clear. The fighters should know and prior who's judging their fight.
Bingo. I had this conversation with Mike Mazzulli and Andy Foster about this, because, like, going back to my my comparison to MLB and NFL. What happens in MLB before the game starts? The two managers meet with the umpire in right at home plate, and he says, "Listen, with 2 strikes, my strike zone gets bigger. Tell your guys to look at the high and low because I'm calling it." In NFL, listen, in a tight game in the fourth, I'm going to let the boys play. Let them be more aggressive. There's none of that in MMA with these judges. There's not you don't know until after. The judges should be able to talk to the fighters, be like, listen, if I see this guy going for 3, 4 takedowns, even though he doesn't hit it and you're backing up, I'm gonna give the round to that guy because he's pushing the action. Just if that's your stance, you gotta let the fighters know what fight they're getting into.
But so
And
the
you don't
judges
get that.
don't talk to him prior,
No.
but the referees do. The referees
Yep.
come back
Mhm.
and give them some like this is this is what I'm looking for. Maybe
Mhm.
they should be the ones in in cahoots with the judges to say, hey, listen, I'm going to talk to them about like what you're looking for and so on and so forth. Maybe they should be the
Yeah.
ones to tell them
Mhm.
because when you don't know and they're going in blind, and the 10-point must system is absolutely horrid and outdated.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. It's unfair. And I think we're always going to have you. I mean, there's an element of we're going to have problems somewhere because, two people can't agree on anything. But
Yeah. That's why there's 3 judges though.
right. That's why we need 7.
Yeah, we need 5 at least. And also, like, let me make a really like quick recap of the crazy decisions that we have had these last 2 weeks. So last week, starting with Tomar dos Santos, I'm sure you watched that fight. That was absolutely dos Santos fight. I don't understand why Saldi Amato gave 30-27 to Tomar. So that was one. And then Gomez versus Maura, Kingman gave 29-28 to Maura. It was again a split decision, and it was clearly Gomez. So even one judge gave 30-27. And last week, Tirelli gave it to Costa 49-46. And in Kopylov, Almeida also it was a split. One judge gave it to Almeida. And this Tirelli make another weird decision with Andre Lima and Mitch Raposo. He gave it to Mitch Raposo in a fight that it was clearly of Lima. So comparing referees and judges, I think referees has less rate of mistakes than judges. Like we're seeing back-to-back weeks these problems. So I think in the specifically aspect of judges, there should be something, in action. As you said, Dean, with referees, I don't think there should be, much action, but with judges, I think it's needed.
There needs to be a little bit more transparency as to what they want. And there needs to be more transparency as to how educated they are in terms of, and I'm not talking about, oh, this guy's fought before. That's got nothing to do with it. David Torelli fought before. Got nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
But in terms of like their education now, I feel as though they should have to take a certain amount of classes and then always keep their education up in a certain amount of things they should have to do before they're able to judge a fight.
But that is a commission giving them those courses. That is a commission capacitating their people, their collaborators. So it is needed more investment, not just in the payment for these guys, but in the capacitation. Or how do you say that? Like when you
capacity, you got it.
Yeah. That.
Dean, outside of you and your crew at the UFC and Ariel Helwani, I don't really know anyone else who would have the access to these fighters as quick as anyone else, like a Jared Cannonier. But maybe a question to ask when these fighters are upset over a quick stoppage would be, now you had your pre-fight scrum with the ref. Did he say anything to you in that pre-fight that led him to warn you, if I don't see this, if I don't see that, I'm going to call the fight? What did he say to you in that pre-fight that supports his decision to stop to stop the fight when he did? And maybe that will help the fighter backtrack. No, he didn't say anything. He just told me how to stay safe and don't grab the fence and don't.
But they normally tell you that.
They do.
They normally tell you. They normally say, listen, if you're in trouble, let me know because I'll stop it. They normally tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, who knows on this situation? But then the fighter and some fighters normally tell them, hey, man, listen, I don't give a fuck if I'm dying. Don't stop the fight on me. Give me a chance. Fighters will say that, and the referees will listen to them. It's the reason why sometimes you see situations, or just like they have a history of like bouncing back. Like you'd never stop an Eddie Alvarez fight because you know that he always gets rocked and he bounces back. So like there is a bit of bias towards that. I'm not sure Jared Cannonier falls into that category. Specifically, Jared Cannonier falls into that category of saying, man, this guy has a history of getting rocked and bouncing back, so I'm not going to stop the fight. That's not Jared Cannonier's MO. So that might have something to do with the fact that Jason Herzog didn't look at him as the type of guy that bounces back from fights. He just doesn't see him that way, which is why he probably stepped in as fast as he did. And Jared Cannonier probably never thought he'd be in that position and didn't tell Jason in the meeting, hey, listen, if I'm rocked, give me a chance. Don't step in. Because I'm sure if he did, Jason wouldn't have stepped in.
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because you have been there. I feel like the referees, and well, it's not that I feel, it's actually like that. Referees can see the eyes, and when someone is rocked or, just being knocked down, the eyes go, in a weird position, and that's something that the camera doesn't get. That's something that we can't see, and the referee can. So, do you think that is also something, really specific that the referee could use as a
absolutely, like that's what I was talking about before with the look. And what started this conversation was, so John McCarthy had Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler too, and
that was crazy.
The very next week, I was fighting for Bellator, and I had John McCarthy, and we went through our pre-fight, and Mo was cornering Robbie the prior week, and then he was cornering me that night. And Mo goes to John. He goes, John, I didn't get to see you. That was a great no stop with Robbie. And that's when it all started with John's like, he didn't give the look. In fact, he even yelled at me, I'm fine. Don't stop the fight. And then he gave him that grace that Dean was talking about.
You got to do it, man. You gotta, and that's my thing is like before the fight, you should probably tell the ref, hey man, listen, if I get caught, don't stop the fight, man. Just please make sure I'm out if you want to step in. But it happens all the time.
I guess it's a hard one. I guess it's a hard one for a human, also like in that moment, there's a lot going on. It's like, dude, do I stop this? Do I actually hear that guy, or I put his health on top of it?
Well, there was a fight earlier in the night between Dustin Stoltzfus and Bruno Ferreira that he stopped it at exactly the perfect time, and he was getting rocked a few, and he gave him a lot of chances. And then it was like the one shot where he should have stopped it. He stepped in exactly at the right moment when he should have stepped in. And that's why, for me, I'm like, you got to cut him some slack, man. Like that could have been a better stoppage in the night. So like he had one really good one and then one bad one. And the good one was the value of the good one outweighs the value of how bad that stoppage was for Cannonier. So to me, I don't, Jason Herzog, listen, we still in good graces. You still my guy. I'm still, if I was having a fight, I'd still want you to be my ref. So just that Dustin Stoltzfus stoppage was so great that I give you a pass on the Jared Cannonier stoppage.
Yeah, but nobody's talking about that fight, right? So when they do a great job, nobody cares. It's only when they screw up. That's that problem. I never want to be a referee.
They're the worst. It's a thankless job.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That one negative comment outshines 5 positive comments. That's the rate.
Outshine your whole career. I
still think people put the eyes on the bad thing. Definitely.
I still think of Herb Dean when he questionably stopped Ken Shamrock against Tito Ortiz in their second fight.
You still mad at him for that?
Still mad at him for that.
Well, we'll catch him on that. But Ryan, you got a felon of the week, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So our felon this week is the new LFA lightweight champion. He just beat our felon from last week. And if you don't like that I flipped and went with the hot hand, you're welcome on the Education and Mixed Martial Arts promotion. Richie Lewis, 6-0, has 2 finishes early on. He's got his last 4 wins by decision. He's gone against really tough opponents. he starts stringing together some finishes, you're going to see him at the big show real soon.
I know him. He is a tough dude. I do think he can fight at the next level. Richie, we are rooting for you. Go out there and do your thing. All right, guys. It was a blast as always, and I appreciate you as always. We will chop it up again next week. Make sure y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy the fights. And if you like the show, hit like, share, and subscribe. And on that note, this court is adjourned.